Welcome back to another episode of the Bamboo Season podcast, where you'll hear stories of transformation and growth. Before we hop into today's podcast, I want to let you know coming up at the end of April, I'm having a Strong Body, Clear Mind Healing and Wellness Workshop. Yes, that's right. It's coming at the end of April. We'll be touching on sobriety, fitness, and trauma healing. I'll put the link in the description. Get your tickets now. Be an intimate setting, small group of people who are ready to reset and grow. Now, March is Women's History Month. Shout out to all my beautiful ladies out there. So all month long, I'll be having some powerhouse female guests who are killing it, making history in their careers, impacting the world their way. And my guest today is absolutely doing that. She is the co-founder of Desert Moon Wellness here in Las Vegas. I bring you Janelle Ardizzone.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, don't be shy.
So excited to be here.
I said your name correct, right?
Yeah.
Ardizzone. Okay. And you are the co-founder of Desert Moon Wellness. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing you created that with your husband, Corey. Mm-hmm. And give us a little bit of what Desert Moon Wellness exactly is.
So we're a biohacking facility. Pretty much, I guess that's what we're getting known for, but truly wellness with a special focus in hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Hyperbarics are core. It's where we started. And it's that's really our core. But along the way, we have really become experts in what stacks very nicely with hyperbarics. So like that's synergistic. We focus on off-label conditions. So a lot of regular like wellness and inflammation and things like that we all need support with, but we want to optimize the low oxygen levels so we're not increasing any risk. That's where red light therapy, PMF, things like that come into play. So we do a lot of that. And you want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going. Give us a spiel. I want to know everything about you guys.
So like hyperbarics, we love hyperbarics. I'm also a certified doula, so I help women in childbirth. I'm super passionate about that. We have an acupuncturist on our team who does functional medicine. Her name's Stephanie Jordan. She's amazing. And Dr. Manoj Sharma, he does anything to help you with your health span, get like the absolute best out of it, from functional medicine to longevity. He's also our medical director, so helping us really be able to fine-tune protocols. We work with a lot of athletes naturally. It's some of the best recovery. Sometimes we need more intense recovery. But we want to be able to measure our recovery, especially when it comes to brain health. I just saw last week on the news, a local high school athlete, and she was talking about concussions and mental health and brain health. And that's something like, it's such a magnificent tool for that. So, I don't know. I love it. I've seen this shift. I've been in hyperbarics for close to a decade now.
Oh, wow.
And I've worked with a lot of professional athletes and some who have started like using hyperbarics after the damage has been done, right? So like I work with, so like after the damage has been done, and then other ones that are integrating during their high times, when stuff's happening, and other ones that like have been aware and on board a long time. Like they've been to hyperbarics since the very beginning of their careers, and through brain scans, like the SPECT scan Dr. Amen offers, we're able to really see the progress and see how hyperbarics has helped move the needle. And it's so amazing because, this is all, it's mental health, like these concussions, if they're not taken care of. And the old way of thinking wasn't that our brain repairs itself. It was just, it was like go home and heal, but we weren't really measuring what's happening. And then later on, 10 years down the road, you got children and you're angry and you're frustrated. And it's like, this could be something that we could do something about it, or like we see a lot of teenagers that have suffered concussions, and it's been a hard, rough last 4 or 5 years for everyone. So like the mental health aspect plays into that. We're just really seeing a shift where coaches and parents are bringing young athletes in sooner. So that's a really cool part.
So what you're saying is it's kind of better to almost like even just fitness, because I'm from the fitness space of don't wait until the bad signs show to start doing the work. You want to start doing the preventative care and stuff now. So when that time comes, I guess it's not as impactful.
Absolutely. So like, and that's what we're learning with the athletes that are doing hyperbaric oxygen therapy prior to insult, you're hyperoxygenating the tissues prior to any insult. So you're going to have quicker and better recovery. It's going to help repair old injuries if we're just starting. And that's one thing that's nice is like, it kind of like meets the individual where they're at. We're all on different journeys down to a cellular level from our brain, our gut, you know, all different levels. And so it's going to start helping repair and optimize, and you're going to see benefits. But if you do a fine-tuned protocol, but the earlier the better. Like, let's get ahead of the damage. It's just really neat that we can do something about it and still play the fun sports, still live a great, fun life, you know?
What do you think is holding people back or making people unsure if to start, like you said, start sooner? What's like that barrier of getting people to, let me go get my chamber in this week or 2 times a week or anything like that?
The unknown, probably. Maybe
The
a little
knowledge?
fear.
Oh,
You know, it's hyperbaric. Hyper is we're increasing, and baric is pressure.
okay.
And so I think like, yeah, a little bit of the fear and unknown. So if we can just break down the facts and really simplify it to make it, you know, it's not going to be for everyone, but a lot of people can really benefit when we're looking at mild hyperbarics. Most athletes, you'll see, you named a couple when we're walking in here, you know,
Yeah.
that we know have hyperbarics. They're all benefiting at that 1.3. If, like how I was saying, it meets us where we're at on a cellular condition. If our mitochondria is already pretty healthy, which most professional athletes for sure, because they're eating good, they're optimizing their sleep, they're doing all the other things that are going to help the hyperbaric even support them better. So that 1.3, the mild pressure, is super efficient, and that's very low risk for like 90% of the population. It's just going to really support.
And what exactly, you kind of talked about it, but what exactly is the hyperbaric chamber for those who don't know? Right? Because, you know,
Yeah.
you see it on social media. You see LeBron James doing, like I told you, Michael Jackson. That's why I heard do it first. Terrell Owens had it on MTV Cribs. I've done it myself now. But, like, when you see it on TV or anything, you just see, okay, it's a chamber. You get in there, it gives you oxygen. What, you know what I mean? Like, for people who don't know, how could you break it down for them of exactly what it does? And does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Are you ready? This is your time to
it
shine.
feels-
I can see the excitement. I'm
Sorry.
glad you asked.
Well, it just feels like it's such a new thing. Like you said, like people
Yeah.
are like Michael Jackson, like, you know, or the 1 or 2 times they've heard about hyperbaric, or is it hyperbolic? You know, what is
Yeah.
it? What's actually happening? But the truth is, it's been around for hundreds of years. Just the science behind it, which is literally like right now we're breathing 21% oxygen, and what we're doing is we're increasing the atmospheric pressure, but instead of just 21% oxygen, we're getting close to 100% of pure, clean, fresh ambient air. So you're getting an hour break of toxins and other stuff within your lungs. And you're also getting the pressure, which is helping oxygenate the tissues. So that science has been around for hundreds of years. Like the very first hyperbaric, I guess, like report of one was actually someone pressurized a cave. And then, you know, along the years, there was, you know, if you go into dive into the history of hyperbarics in the early 1900s, a guy by the name of Orville Cunningham, he created a hyperbaric hotel, and it was literally like pressure, just pressurizing the room, and it's just ambient air. Close to 100 years ago, hospitals started integrating them. And this is where we came into oxygen, pure oxygen chambers. So we're pressurizing oxygen, going to deeper rates. And this is where the FDA has allowed and approved 14 conditions. And so a lot of times those are a lot more extreme conditions than what we see. But that's been happening in hospitals for close to 80 years. It's just been the last about 23, 24 years that people started studying the benefits of low pressure. And to be honest, to be truthful, mild hyperbaric pressure, mild hyperbaric chamber is only approved by the FDA for decompression sickness. So that's the only thing it's approved for. We can't say it's going to heal or cure anything. What I do know, it's going to support your body on a cellular level, and your brain's going to benefit the most from it. And you know, our brain's the pilot for everything else going on. So really helping support that helps us feel connected, make better decisions. Even our perception on pain and stuff, our brain doesn't feel it, but it's giving off that perception. So it's definitely, I think with anything, you have to try it and see what works for you.
Yeah.
And there's like, you got to believe in it for sure. But I definitely say give it, it's worth giving a try. It changed my life.
And I remember when I was at your, at Desmond Wellness, you mentioned something of the long lines of it's similar to scuba diver or airplane or something like that.
Yeah. So, like in a plane, we go up in pressure. In a chamber, you're going down in pressure. And for example, the soft chambers, they go to 1.3 atmospheric pressure, which is about 10 feet, but it's like the bottom of a deep pool, 10 feet below sea level. So that's what those go to. And then if you were to go deeper, up to 33 feet about is what's considered low pressure still. But yeah, the soft chambers are about 10 feet below sea level.
Oh, wow. What's the most extreme one?
Generally, we just treat between 1.3 to 2.0, which is 10 to 33 feet.
Okay.
But in the hospitals where you're doing the pure oxygen chambers, and those ones can go triple the depth.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it just more benefit?
Yeah, but also comes more risk. We're definitely treating at low pressure, keeping the risk down. So we're not approaching any kind of central nervous system toxicity, not increasing any kind of stress on the body. Like we're really just trying to, and that's what's so cool about the ambient air systems and what you can get out of low pressure, because we want to the body and the mind really sometimes just needs gentle support, and it does that.
Not to go off topic too much, but you mentioned talking about the brain and taking care of it. I was on the way here. I was listening to, you're familiar with Robert Greene?
No.
The 48 Laws of Power. Was it 48 Laws of Power? He wrote that book.
Oh, I have to.
Oh, well, he's just
Familiar.
like a genius guy who talks about the brain and mastering yourself and all that. And he was explaining how the brain is probably our most prized, pretty much possession, the biggest thing, but in how important it is that we master it, by doing things like you said, like recovery. A lot of people sleep, man, just regular sleep alone, besides the chamber, but just regular sleep. I feel like we're in a space and time in life where people aren't prioritizing it enough. They're kind of just, because I know I used to be this way to where like, oh, all I need is 5 hours and I'm good. I can function off that, but am I function at an optimal level? Yeah. And I think sometimes because life gets busy, kids, businesses, stress, we get what we can, but on the back end, I don't think too many people put effort to build a sleep routine. Morning routines are amazing, I think, but I think more important is your sleep routine, because if you shut that phone off at a certain time, you package your lunch, you get your clothes ready, you set your alarm, you got your water put your thing up real quick. Yeah. You're hydrated. Hydrogen water, you got it filled up next to you. So when you wake up, all you got to do is hit the button and drink it to make your life simpler. Yep. But I think sleep routine is very important, because I noticed for myself, I can function on 5-6 hours, but I know at work with my clients or whatever, I'm going to be just not as laser sharp.
Man, you hit it right there. And we just had a wellness discussion in our community last week, and asked Dr. Sharma, if it's one thing you can do, what would you do? And he's like, schedule my sleep. And it's something that we just talk about all the time. Yeah. It's really the first point of recovery. We love movement and nutrition, but really, honestly, if we're not getting the right sleep, our brain's not detoxing at night. It's not, I don't know, sleep is, that's one thing I'm good at is
you
my
get good sleep.
Oh, yes. And it's one thing I can't even imagine, but it's just just like in the gym, the chamber, the recovery happens, everything happens when you're outside, and sleep's just, it's foundation. It's so important. I think we definitely need to discuss that more.
No, yeah, sleep and rest, because like I said, I think with the society of things, we think we got to go, this and that, which I understand you do got to grind it a little bit and all these things, but at rest and sleep is when your body gets to restore and recover and, like you said, get the toxins out and have your mind be sharp. And I always tell this to my clients when they get, for whatever reason, they got to miss an extra day or whatever. And I let them know, it's okay. You're not going to lose all your results and everything if you take that extra day of recovery, because you're putting stress on your body anyway. Yeah. And your body needs time to fix all those little micro tears and mentally get you back to where you're at. Now, at your facility, Desmond Wellness, you have the hyperbaric chamber. What else? You also offer, I've done it before, the brain tap. You have red light therapy. You have stems.
So
Or
yeah,
just tell you. I'll let you handle it. You tell us what you guys offer exactly.
We have a new, it's called OmniWave, and so it's a shockwave device that really helps with any kind of musculoskeletal issues, tears, anything going on. Just come see us because it's really amazing, especially for athletes, and it works really good with hyperbarics. We have a lot of modalities, but I'd like to talk to you just going back to like the sleep a little bit, because it is a huge problem.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I sleep well, but I also am always trying to optimize everything in my life for my mind and my body, and it's something that I have prioritized, so I do things to help it. When we run a thing called Neural Check, so it's an assessment of our heart rate variability. We offer it to everyone when they start, just because it's kind of like foundational. It gives a little bit of information, but it really is a snapshot of our nervous system. And the truth is most people are walking around in like sympathetic and central nervous system burnout. We're just stuck there. Like you said, it's go. It's like we are always running from a tiger. And it's hard to make the shift. It's even kind of scary for some people. So I think that's why sleep is so difficult. And doing things like we have a lot of cool modalities. We have the mild PMF, the high intensity. We have light bed, targeted light, HBOT. It's super like nice and serene when you come. But I think it's really important to talk about simple, easy, free things that we can do now. Just right now. Like
tonight, when they see this, I'm doing this tonight.
Yes, because there's so much, and we have so much power in what we can do to help us make shift, and and that's where it's all out for us just to be connected,
Oh, are you gonna tell us?
Oh,
the free stuff? You said you're gonna to help us sleep. You set it up like you.
Okay, so that goes into just like optimizing our nervous system and supporting it with this circadian rhythm. Okay. There's kind of two things there. We'll save this for a second. The one thing I was going to say, like the first thing I would do going home tonight is when I get home before the sun sets, like kick my shoes off, find some dirt, go out there and watch, like get the natural PMF from the earth, watch the sun go down. There's so much like healing light in that sun. Take off my glasses and let that light hit me, and just like, lean into whatever helps you get out of your way, prayer, meditation, just a moment of like tuning in. And maybe it's just try different things.
I have a question. What about the people who work grave or they work later? They don't get home until 9 because for whatever reason, work, kids. So what would let's help those people. What would you recommend people like that to do? Yeah,
that's a good question. Because I would say, so for me, it's more sunrises anyways.
Yeah.
We have the most killer sky in Vegas, sunrise or sunset. And so that's where I get my reset time is in the morning at the sunrise. So I would encourage that. But if you're walking out of the casino at 9 a.m., it might be a little more difficult, right? So you got to really kind of support your circadian rhythm, I guess, against your clock at that point, which is a little against our normal circadian rhythm. Yeah. Normally, if I was just waking up, you'd want to like let that sunlight hit you. But it just really depends on what your cycle would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the sleep, one thing for myself, when I decided to really make it better, because I knew I wanted to perform at an optimal level every morning when I'm waking up 5 a.m., 6 a.m., because I had no choice. I'm training people, so I got to be on. I'm helping them, the ones who need the extra motivation. I started taking magnesium and valerian root. So a friend of mine recommended it one time, and I'm like, whatever, girl, this is some whatever stuff. But I did it. I swear I thought I took a Xanax. Yeah. And I was knocked out because my issue was I was going to sleep, but it wasn't like a good deep sleep.
Yeah.
So I started implementing that. Another thing I did, this was hard, very hard. I mean, Janelle, hard. Turning off the TV and putting my phone away.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, but I'm telling you right now, besides crack, there's sugar and there's electronics.
Yeah.
I think are the hardest things to like get your mind away from. For some, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody. Some people got more control, but there were times where I'm like, all right, I set a goal in my head. I'm going to bed or everything's off at 9 p.m. Everything's off. So you turn it off. I was one of those people where I'm going to watch The Office or whatever until I get sleepy and maybe even fall asleep to it. But then I was like, all right, one day I just did it. A client actually told me this. She was like, well, you could always just turn it off. I'm like, you're right, I can. So I did it one day and I laid there. It was so uncomfortable laying there because I wasn't tired or anything. And my mind at that point was where it's just going all over the place, all these things, this and that. And before you know it, I knocked out. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. I just had this limited belief I kept telling myself. And before you know it, the routine started to build day after day. But that first time, week or so, was hard. And I honestly think it's a lot of people's problem because a lot of people fall asleep scrolling TikTok. They scroll, they watch until they get tired. They get that yawn. Then they turn it off as opposed to setting the tone like, oh, it's off.
Yeah. You know, you make me think of the one thing that's made such a huge difference in our center and also, but mostly at our home with our family and everything is changing the lighting. I guess that's what I would do if I was getting off at 9 a.m. I would put on my darker red glasses if that's time for me to wind down and go to bed. And then also it's so easy to change your light bulbs at home now. So like, you know, you want to have the darker, the red tones when we want to wind down or and close everything off. So you can do that with wearing glasses or change your bulbs out. It's so easy now and it's inexpensive. And that really just helps because it helps calm. Sometimes we need to not just calm the body, but calm the mind too. You know, we get tired and we keep scrolling and that's not helping us. You know?
Oh, I've had my days where I'm like, and one thing I had to stop doing was I love psychological thrillers.
Oh, geez.
And throughout the day, I'm always doing something because I'm sure as you and your husband know, when you're building a business and all that, there's like, it seems like there's always something that could be done. Some promotion, some marketing, some deals, whatever. So throughout my day, I'm always feeling like, okay, something I got to do. I got to create some content. I got to edit this video, that video. And then at the end of the night, I'm like, you know what? I want to watch something that's just going to not work. It's just entertainment. It used to be comedy, but then more lately, it's been psychological thrillers I've been finding on Hulu. I have some great recommendations. DM me if you want to get them. But what I started realizing was my heart rate gets going. And I'm like, oh, waiting and sleep wouldn't be the best. I wear a Whoop. I don't know if you wear anything, but
Or a ring.
Yeah. So I kind of will track my sleep, and I started noticing those days I'm in the red.
I think that's one of the best recommendations to give someone is to track your sleep.
Yeah.
Because then, you know, sometimes it comes down to like the quality, right? Say you only have 5 hours, but are you getting deep sleep? You know, like what type of sleep, you know, and it really helps just clue in to what's affecting us.
Before Desert Moon, you were like, you didn't just wake up one day, hey, I'm opening this wellness center. How did you get to Desert Moon building a wellness facility? Like, what were you doing before?
Wow. It's been quite a journey. First out of college, I went to school for kinesiology and nutrition. I lost my brother at a young age, and so I wanted to learn about the mind and body. But then I accidentally ended up working in the luxury car business. One of my best clients throughout college, she was a controller of this car dealer, and I finished school. I went there just to it was supposed to be for the summer just to help her out, but I learned about cars and I fell in love with bodies and cars. I love bodies and cars. So I started working for Aston Martin, Beverly Hills at a pretty young age. At 25, I was managing.
Wow.
So that was 21 years ago. And it was insane. You know, I was over in England quite a bit. I mean, I'm running Beverly Hills, so it was like #1 in the country. It was an incredible experience. And then about 5 years later, my husband and we had been dating long distance. He had lived in Vegas, and we wanted to like really make it work. We both had one previous child, and our sons who are amazing. Dylan, helps run our center. And that's when I decided to move to Vegas. Kind of this like dream came true. People thought I was crazy. I left this. It was the best career, that I loved it. But I had an opportunity to be mom. You know, I had a full-time nanny out there and stuff, and we wanted to build this life in Las Vegas. But so I did that. And in that journey is kind of when I lost myself and then kind of found myself. And that was about 9 years ago where I really really made serious changes. And along that journey, I just made a promise to myself, to God, the universe, I would pay forward what worked. And it's been a real humbling, amazing, incredible journey. You know, and we're just staying true to sharing what we know works and helping our community. Like I knew on October 1 that we were going to open here in Vegas because I had so many close friends that were at that tragedy and stuff. And I just knew at that time, like in my journey, I had discovered, you know, it wasn't just about removing the toxins, mind, body, and soul, but fueling ourselves with good mind, body, and soul tools to help ourselves operate better and understand so we don't go back to those bad, negative ways. And so I kind of like made a mission even back then. I put together essential toolboxes, like spiritual toolboxes to help with survivors and stuff. And I was just like, you know, I know that hyperbarics can help physically, but the impact we could have mentally. And Vegas, it's not where I grew up or I was born, but it's where I've had my children and found my healing. And so it's just like, you know, over the years, it became a family mission. And so in 2020, we left Aston Martin to fully work on our dream of opening. And that's when Corey and we joined Oxy Health. We both started working for Oxy Health, and just for about 2 years, all we did was go to functional medicine conventions, biohacking. We went to so many conventions nonstop. And then in 22, we opened Desert Moon Wellness. And that's when I stopped traveling. So for the 2 years, that's just, you know, it was really amazing because it gave us time to really vet and use all just really understand the best modalities that there are. And like that's kind of like, and that's something that's so important to us because we understand, like we respect everyone's time. We want to be efficient, you know, and we don't ever want to share anything that's not going to be efficient and helping. And so it really gave us an opportunity to meet the greatest minds in the biohacking and wellness space that became our mentors. Yeah, it's incredible. I don't want to be a big name dropper, but it's really, you know, it was in the early days too, before, you know.
Gary Brecka?
You know what? I haven't met Gary Brecka yet. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see him, but there's a lot of other amazing ones.
He's the only type of person in that field I know of. That's like a name. I mean, I'm sure there's probably others, but
yeah.
He's like the main one I see on social media.
Yeah, well, like for us, you know, in 2020, we helped, you know, Dave Asprey, Jim Quick, people like that get into hyperbarics. And at that time, I also really realized that's my journey started in biohacking with meditation and removing these things like so early on before that was ever even a thing. And that's what it's so neat. You haven't heard of Dave Asprey?
Not at all.
No? Okay. So, I mean, Gary Brecka is
and that's probably partially because of social media. You know what I mean? Some people are just good at marketing themselves.
Oh, Gary Brecka is amazing.
Like they know how to get on there, and he's always on Instagram, always on TikTok or something for whatever reason. I mean, I know the reason, but I just always see him. I don't know how much I follow him or anything. I saw one person kind of like, there's somebody out there. What's the guy's name? Trainer, biohack something. I forgot his name. His big old thing is he is like the call out guy. So when somebody says something, whatever, he'll make a post and like do information on it. And how Gary Brecka made a comment about a banana smushed raises your blood sugar 14 times more than an eaten banana, or 4 tablespoons of sugar, something like that. And the guy basically was saying, yeah, of course it will, because a banana doesn't have that much sugar in it. Something like that. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I forgot the guy's name. What's his name? He's a trainer. I follow him. I don't know.
Well, I think that Gary Brecka is genius.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of people that follow him. He definitely has a big impact on a lot of people that walk in our doors, and also myself too. He has, through the 10X and all that, he's made famous the superhuman protocol. And so that's something that we all can it's literally getting PEMF, oxygen, and light therapy. And it's a way to help optimize our cells and our mitochondria, which is really amazing. But he's so smart and genius. I mean, the guy just made a hyperbaric gym, which is
Let me ask you this.
Incredible.
So I know that all this equipment, all these things, it's expensive, right? There's a certain amount of level of people who won't be able to afford and do these things consistently or on a level to where it's going to help them. And I think those are some of the people who are struggling the most, right? Because they're stressed because whatever reason, not making enough money or these things. How can we, or if you have any idea or insights to get those kind of people this kind of, I guess, treatment or help? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say, just go back to the basics, like grounding ourselves, affirmations, really. I do a lot of chakra work. I work with chakras a lot, and that's something free. It's a power within us all, of a way just to connect us to our own power. I call it the rainbow that connects us to heaven and earth. And just so visualization and affirmations are so powerful when we top that with grounding ourselves. If you could find, I know it's tough in Vegas finding a piece of dirt, because like we have all this fake grass. But if you have it like that, you're so lucky. But like that, and exercising, increasing the VO2 max is such a huge. I think the goal is to feel our best in our health span, right? And so when we can do those basics, like in the superhuman protocol, coming in and doing our modalities, do PMF, light, hyperbarics, like it's amazing. And yes, it might get you there faster, but on a daily basis, you can make deposits and do things that are just going to be so effective in your well-being. And it's free.
For whatever reason, people don't like doing, for one of what I've noticed, free stuff. They don't. It's crazy to me. It's shocking. It's I don't know if it's what the psychology behind it. I need to get a psychologist on here and talk about it, because it happens a lot. There's a lot of free stuff you can do to help yourself in any way, form or fashion, financially, all these things. You go on YouTube and find out anything.
Yep.
You can find out a workout. It's free. But for whatever reason, people still won't do it.
You know what the biggest thing, just like sleep's so important, the biggest thing is letting go and removing. We really have to take accountability into what we're doing to block ourselves from our healing and leveling up. And once we can kind of do an assessment, things get a little easier when we get out of our way. You
mentioned earlier when you left Ashton Martin, and you came to Vegas, that you lost yourself.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So, looking back now, I realize I had postpartum depression. I had our youngest son. I was in my early 30s and just left really disconnected. I from the hospital, didn't really realize it, and I didn't really have I didn't have a good toolkit back then. I had no idea. And so I was pretty separated from myself, and a couple years into it, my own bucket was full, and I was sick. I was inflamed. I was all these things. And I had to really do an inventory check one day. And so, it was hard. I didn't realize it, but for the first time in my life, that was when I was like, what am I doing? And sometimes we think to ourselves, this couldn't be affecting my life, I'm only having 1 to 4 drinks on Friday. How's it affecting my life? But that's the thing I've learned so much is those 1 to 4 drinks on Friday will affect your nervous system until the next Thursday, And so sometimes it's when it's something that's not even that apparent, might not seem like it's that big of a deal, but it's really holding you back and to leveling up, and that's something so for me, it was really, getting rid of, it was a lot of toxins, alcohol was one of them, but gluten and replacing negative mindset or negative thoughts, but also a lot of doing a lot of work. And I think that, for me, we've talked about, our journeys together, which are so inspiring. And I love what you're doing for our community, because I think the thing is like when you give up something or you remove something that you think it may have been a crutch or might have been helping you, or just may have been something you inherited as a way of coping from your parents, like whatever that is, you can really tap in and realize how limitless you can be. And when you start just I often too, like I have to use all these tools. Like I have my own mantras. Like I do things that help me tap in, because it's so easy to get disconnected and get busy, and we're all human.
Yeah.
So my first 6 months were pretty radical though.
Yeah. So let's talk about that too. Well, thank you for sharing and being open about your postpartum. And I might surprise you. I'm not a woman. I don't know how it goes. It might be a shock, but yeah, I don't know how that is. I can only imagine, only from what I've seen, other people share. And I thank you for sharing that, because there's probably gonna be somebody here watching who also had that and dealt with that. And I'm sure it's fucking hard, especially not just for you, but your family too. Cause they're probably like, what's going on? How can I help? How can I, and there's probably not even an answer, right?
Yeah. And I don't think it's something like we ever really talked about. So I'm like, it's just women are strong. I mean, guys are too, but it's like, there's so many things that just these strong women, they're taking care of their families, they're like all this other stuff, and they don't talk about a lot of things that really matter. And my first 6 months was pretty radical.
Come on, sobriety?
Yes.
Okay, so sobriety. So how long have you been sober now? Alcohol free?
Yeah, so I'll tell you this. So March of 2016, I was alcohol free like completely for 3 years.
Nice.
And that's when I noticed the most magic in my life, like as far as manifesting and just everything happening at just like a quantum speed, right? And also the mind body healing, all of that. And then around 2020 or so, I'm gonna tell you, don't ever make this mistake, okay? I was like, I have a better relationship with alcohol now. I got this, right?
Yeah.
And I do. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
I'm not saying shit. I'm agreeing.
Was the hardest lesson ever in like opening a new business and stuff. It's not like I'm not someone who ever seemed like I don't have an issue, but it's those few drinks, whatever. So it's like would hurt my nervous system. So I don't like. So over the past couple years, like I don't admit it 1,000%, but I don't really drink either. So what I do is I love alternatives. So
okay.
I love the biggest thing for me has been honestly
shrooms.
No, yeah, but
shrooming in the chamber.
Not like that. I don't do anything that like alters my mind, but adaptogens that help, like ashwagandha has been huge. Kava helps me balance.
Kava.
I love kava,
nice.
But also like I'm still doing my research and experimentation with that. Lately, I've really, I do a lot of intermittent fasting. I do ketones. So I've discovered recently this thing called Keto Hall, which is amazing. I love it. It just like, when you are fasting, it helps support your body and support your liver versus having negative effects on it.
Okay.
And it's not something like it's not something if you're still wanting to like drink, then like that's not it.
So as of now, you do or don't drink?
I don't drink like once in a while. I don't know. I might have something like it's something special, but it's not like
how it was before in the past.
Yeah, and okay. I don't like, and what doesn't mean wellness and everything we do, like everything I was telling my husband this on the way here too, and it's what we have done is like. I support sober community. Yeah. And that is what, and that's what we're teaching our children. It's our life. And it's not, I guess the only reason why I don't entirely is because, I don't know, it's not something, I don't really like alcohol, to be honest. Okay. Like something, so I work in longevity and wellness, and it is a horrible toxin. It's really bad for you. I don't know if anyone's noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that, but we still... It's almost as anything, bad foods, whatever, we still do it because it gives us a certain sense of feeling of something.
It totally. And like, it used to be in the past, my mindset was like, I work hard, I deserve this,
I
or
deserve
this
this.
happened,
Woo!
or that happened.
I
And
deserve it.
yeah, and
That's
that's
the
like,
one.
it's destructive.
Yeah, it
and
is.
like it's such an easy, slippery slope. So like I definitely think that, yeah, I don't know, just
So do
don't.
you think now you're able to go out to dinner,
Yeah.
have wine, and you're good?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Like, I don't really do that, like, because
No, you don't. What, you don't do it, or you don't think you're?
I don't. I go out to dinner and I don't order wine. Like,
Well, I'm saying if you were to, are you at that level now to where you could have a drink just to enjoy, like whatever, like a tasty drink?
yeah, it's
Not in the sense of I want to get tipsy tonight, but like maybe this wine goes good with that pasta. I don't know.
I haven't wanted to get tipsy in like 10 years.
That's
and I know-
good.
and that's not like, and so that's what it's not about. Like, I just know if I have a glass of wine,
Yeah.
it's going to affect my nervous system for 4 or 5 days. So I have to really like, maybe if it's something worth it, or,
Big celebration. Big.
yeah, but
Okay.
still like, I'm like such a snob, and like, and it's not about that. Like, I don't want to get drunk with any friends. I don't want to get drunk with anyone. Like,
Same.
we want to get better. And it's like,
Yeah.
I am going to be 47 this year.
Woo!
And like, for me, it's like, we're learning so much about menopause and rewiring the brain and things like that. And that is the most destructive thing that we can do. So like, I just think it's so neat and incredible that we are building a community, like, where it's powerful and it's connected. And
You guys are a part of that with your wellness facility. You're giving people recovery to help get their mind right. Because I think once you get your mind right, you're able to make those firmer decisions and understand of what is not helping you work at an optimal level.
yeah,
What I've come to realize is I don't say everybody, but people, I'll say for myself, we've gotten okay with just, I won't say average, but we're baseline. Like you go get your blood work done. Oh, you're in a normal range of whatever it is, potassium, whatever. But it's like, why don't we want to be at an optimal level? Does that make sense? Normal's okay, like you're within range, but it's like, nah, I want to be at my best. How do I get there? And it's part of it could be some of your services you offer at your facility. Part of it could be eating better, exercising more regularly. Because somebody obese and overweight can go get the blood work done, and they're probably, oh, you're within range. But does that mean they're at an optimal level? They're 3 points away from pre-diabetes. They're X amount of points away from over high glucose level. But then they get the result and they're like, oh, the doctor said I'm good. But they know they're not healthy. Does that make sense?
I'm currently myself. I start 8 a.m. tomorrow with tons of tests. I'm getting every test under the moon. Thankfully, that's what Dr. Sharma brings so much value to our team.
Dr. Sharma.
He's incredible.
He's a doctor here in Vegas?
Yes.
What kind of doctor is he?
So he's the chairman of internal medicine down at Sunrise.
Oh, wow. How long has he been there?
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
But
that's where I went when I had my accident, Sunrise.
I can't wait for you to come meet him. So, and then he's with us over at Desert Moon in the afternoon. So he gets there around 2 o'clock.
Okay.
But he's really incredible. He comes from Western medicine, but he really understands, the mind and body. And he really has all the tools and understanding to help us optimize, our health span. It's what we want to do.
And earlier, I kind of remember the story, but you mentioned at a young age you lost your brother.
Yeah.
And do you mind touching on that a little bit? How old were you? What were the circumstances? Does he play a part in you building this business?
Huge. Yeah. Huge. So like, it was 1 month before my 15th birthday and he was 16 and.
Older brother then?
Yep.
Okay.
He was 1.5 older than me. And I was with him when he took his last breath, and he was, it was him and I before that last breath. And it was something, we had a lot of conversations the last 2 weeks before he died. And I knew that it was going to be on me to make a lot of changes to change the direction of my life. And he would no longer be there. And it was probably, to me, it's like a crucifix moment for me, for sure, that 30 days after he died. But then I just really came out of it like, I'm going to live this life double for both of us, and I'm going to learn everything I can and live a great life. And I really have had a fire inside me, and that's how I know, like, energy does not die. I've had a great life, but then along the way, dealt with my own things, my own hardships, and I've had to Well, it wasn't until that journey in motherhood, 10 years ago, where at first after he passed away, I wanted to learn everything about the nutrition and about the movement and the
Well,
body of
how did he? Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, sorry.
How did he pass?
Cystic fibrosis.
Say it again.
Cystic fibrosis.
Cystic fibrosis.
Yes.
And what is that?
So it's a genetic disease that was pretty common. It's more common in what used to be in Caucasian males. And when we were kids, the life expectancy was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so like he didn't believe it, but every doctor's appointment, bless their hearts, like you're dying at 16. Like we would always hear that. And so it wasn't until that journey in motherhood and like understanding how powerful our mind was. Like, initially I just wanted to learn about how he could have done better. I saw his physical condition and I saw the lack of understanding on nutrition back then, but I didn't even understand the mind component till my own trials,
And so that's born with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're born with it, and then so at a young age they told him like, hey, so when you became of age of awareness and understanding of life, you knew, or he both knew at 16 this is coming or possibly coming.
Yeah, and like I grew up a sibling, but because I was so close in age, they thought I was getting tested all the time too.
Oh, really?
And so I had this big. It was really hard because it was almost like, why him? Why not me? Because we were like, and just seeing him be so brave and stuff and all that. So I've been pretty involved within cystic fibrosis community, but for me, like my brother had such a rad spirit, and I just know like it's about helping everyone, and so that's it. He definitely fuels our mission today.
Did you deal with any type of survivor's guilt?
For sure, yeah.
How long and how'd you get over it or get through it?
I don't know. I think initially it came out, I had like some eating disorders after he passed away and different things and then 20s, I think I went straight into that thinking I survived that into my 20s that's when I partied in my 20s, and
I
it's
think
like
everybody.
and it was like 20s is this huge adrenaline rush, and then it was like 30s dream come true, want to be mom, and that's when it just like all comes crashing down, and that's really because after he died, when I got that courage 30 days after he died, I put a lock and a chain on that childhood, and I just blocked it out. There was a lot of things so in my 30s and stuff, like a lot of my journey has been doing the work, and like, because we have to uncover these things that we protected ourselves from when we were young.
Man, and it's hard.
Yep.
To want to do it, but you get to a certain point in life where you're like, you can just sense and feel there's something there blocking you or in your way of truly feeling and being yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever the trauma could be. For you, losing somebody close to you, me being homeless as a kid, not having my dad around, other people, similar situations in one parent, or losing a sibling or family member, and you block it. Probably not even trying to.
Survival.
The mind just knows how to try to protect you, and then you get to, I don't know. I guess surprised or try to understand why more people aren't willing to. Well, I guess I do know because it's hard and it's very uncomfortable.
Well, and I think that's where addictions come into, honestly, because we become these masters of numbing and blocking stuff out so we can survive. Literally in those moments, it's only the best tools we have, and what would we do otherwise? But then we build these lives that are so far from that. And
it's scary because with the addictions and things you use, sometimes you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize that I was using alcohol the way I was for the way I was. And it's weird. It's interesting because during the period of life where like similar to you, my 20s, that's when I was really partying, late teens to 20s. I always would ask myself like, damn, why do I always drink to the limit that I do when I would drink? Because I was never get tipsy. All right, we're done. Let's call it a night. I get tipsy. That means it's go time. That's like the trigger for me to like go up another level. And I enjoyed it. Like I would drink to black out. That was my mission every time I drink. My mission, my goal, or in my head, I was like, if I'm not going to get fucked up, blacked out, why am I going to drink? And I would always ask myself, why am I like that? Because alcohol wasn't in my family. My mom never drank around me. Nobody close to me drank. But for whatever reason, well, I know now, but at the time I didn't. And it was just so shocking. And it's easy to hide that because in your 20s, everybody's doing it. Everybody's party here, party there. And then you get to a certain point. Well, for me, falling out a 4-story window, hopefully other people don't have to do that. But that, even then, I still drink after that.
Well, that's what's like crazy. And like, I was like, I could so easily, like, any of us could so easily end up be like, how'd I get here?
Yeah.
End up there so quickly. And that's why we have to be conscious of what we're putting into our bodies on all levels. So it's not just the alcohol. You know, I'll go down a rabbit hole with you about seed oils and everything else. Like, we need to be taking good care of ourselves. And that's one reason why I avoid it 99% of the time, is because, I don't know, it's not going to do me any justice. It doesn't serve me.
Doesn't serve
and
you.
it's not on my path. So, like, you know, I guess it's all comes down to what our goals are, and, you know.
I also think it's our belief system. We're tied to certain beliefs behind certain things. Oh, football Sunday, that means it's beer time. You know, it's a ritual, and we get so tied to it, we feel like we can't have fun and watch the game without it.
Yeah.
That's what I started to feel, at least, and notice when I gave up alcohol. And I used to question, like, damn, how am I I avoided going out to certain things. I had somebody one time buy me tickets to a concert to an artist I really wanted to see. And we went and we sat in the parking lot, and I was like, I can't go in. I literally couldn't go in. I was scared to go in. It sounds crazy.
That was me too.
I was scared to go in because I was like, how am I going to be in there? I'm not drunk. What am I going to do? Just stand? And this is like in the beginning stages of my sobriety. Now, when I think back on it, it's crazy. Now I don't really care. I can go. I've done it. I remember I went to a Cowboys game sober for the first time, and I was a little nervous too, but it was the best time I've had. And I had been to 2 previous ones, but those 2 previous ones, I was blacked out drunk.
And so you
don't even remember.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I started noticing was like, now I'm going to be able to remember these moments and truly be present. Being drunk, whatever, it might have seemed fun at the time. Like, I was so drunk, I think they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know? Cowboys. Next year's our year. Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's just like, I don't know, that's the magic. It's amazing, like, to be able to, like, because I too, when I first decided to give up alcohol, my husband would contest, like, I was a little bratty if we had to go out and do things, like, you know, because I thought it's what made people, I was scared. I honestly thought I'd have no friends anymore because I was like, I thought it's what made me sociable. I was fun, you know, all these things, like, no one's going to like me. But what I learned is, you know, yes, there were some people I didn't talk to anymore. I didn't talk to me because we weren't on the same vibration, but I attracted the right people. And that's, you know, it's all good. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's so much magic.
Is exactly beautifully said. That part you said about what I learned too, I was feeling the same way. Like, I started noticing I wasn't hanging out with people as much, certain invites from certain people, because I think they feel weird with me there knowing I don't drink, you know, which I have control. But when you remove the space that certain people have in your life, it opens that space up for other ones who should be.
So true. And sometimes we're just trying to hold on.
Yeah, and it's hard because they might be your people from a long time. You know, we grew up together, or we did business in the past, or you helped me through this. And I always say separation isn't always bad. You know, it could be just for a time period for whatever reason. You never know. Me separating for certain people, they might go their route and decide to go sober too and come back. Like, man, I understand. That's the best thing too. Like, even here, you say it to me, but when I will get random DMs from people, the ones especially who knew me those years, and they say they're on their journey or anything. Like, a friend of mine's an ER doctor, and I haven't talked to him in a while, and he randomly just DM'd me and told me he was like 3-6 months in, and he's like, I understand what you were talking about. And I'm like, shit, let's go. And I used to think it was stupid for a little bit to share my journey. And I didn't share it until I got like 6-7 months in, because I wanted to make sure it was something I was going to stick to and not just post on social media to seem like I'm following a wave. And now I see more and more people going the route. You know, I think more and more people opening their eyes, and they're seeing the benefits of not using it in a bad way. Because I think there's people out there who can, like I mentioned earlier, they can go have a good cocktail or a drink and be good. They can go home and that's about their day. But unfortunately, I wasn't one of those people. Like I said, I was blacked out or sober.
Yeah, but like, you know, I'm the opposite, but that's the magic in just, you know, just the way the culture is shifting and just not even having that drink on a regular, but even if it is just one,
Yeah.
you know, because no one's going to be like, you're a loser, you're a failure, you can't run, you can't do this, you know, if you're just having 1 or 2 drinks. But like, just imagine if you don't. And so that's always my priority in my life and like the ones around me and stuff, because I notice just how much better I am. Like, you know, when we're
Does your husband drink?
Rarely. He doesn't really.
Oh, so you guys don't drink at all, really? That's
good. He doesn't like alcohol. He never really has. He's like, you know, once in a while, maybe he'll sip on a really good tequila, but he's not.
That makes
and he's got, you know, he's got his own 6 months. This is how the universe humbles you. 6 months into opening, he was diagnosed with a deadly vasculitis. So he has.
It's called deadly vasculitis?
Well, yeah, it's called onca, but that's like the nickname. And it literally, it's an autoimmune condition, and it's pretty severe, and it's really humbling because we went down a Western medicine path when like part of our detoxing and a huge part of my sobriety, which I'll never go back to, is pills. You know, prescriptions that I got on for that was like part of my toxic load, and it's like, thank God these hyperbarics and these modalities have saved our life from that stuff in a way that like I couldn't even ever imagine, you know. So.
Damn, shout out to him.
Yeah.
And you being a support system right now.
It's crazy. But so like when we first opened, we were so like, it's almost like, you know, it was on this holistic pedestal, but the lesson has been, I had just became a cellular detox coach when he got diagnosed. And the lesson really, it's how we serve our community a lot now too. Like we have a lot of like incredible athletes that we work with. Incredible healthy people just wanting to optimize, but we work with a lot of people that need to optimize Western medicine and what we can do holistically and how do we work together. And that's been a big lesson with him, and it's a big it's something that we're just learning every day. And that's another reason why I love Sharma so much.
I gotta come by, meet him, and
cool.
Obviously get more of the treatment that you guys offer, because the brain tap thing was amazing for me. Because as somebody whose my mind is all that helped me like.
Yeah, it's like, it's crazy. And that's something too I've seen, you know, some of the, doesn't matter, from kindergartners to incredible athletes to, it doesn't matter. It helps. It's going to help you be better. As I mentioned, medulla, I use it during labors even now because it really just helps us.
And we're up here in a second. Do you guys, Desmond Wellness, do you guys have anything coming up or anything to look out for?
Yeah, so we do have some events coming up. We're going to start hosting some community Q&A type style events at the center.
Okay.
So just check out Desmond Wellness for that, because that'll be coming up. And then we're excited we have some upcoming announcements on some other things we're excited to host this year. So just follow along. And
I love it. What would you say as like some lasting words here? Like, why do they need to come see you at Desmond Wellness?
Well, just to like really optimize and feel your best. You know, like you were saying, sometimes we get used to what this norm is. You know, is that ache a norm? Is that headache? Is it, you know, whatever? Like, what's possible? And so you might have a reason, you might not. But if anything, check it out for your own mental well-being, and come see us. Never know what you might take away.
I love it. And it's family-ran business. You, your husband, your son.
Yep.
I don't know if all the kids work there or not, but
just our oldest.
Oldest, yeah. Shout out to Dylan.
Yeah.
I love when I went there. Great environment. Remind me of the physician's name.
Oh, Dr. Sharma.
No.
Candace.
Candace.
Yeah.
Nurse practitioner. Nurse practitioner. Yeah, she was amazing and sweet. And to me, that's one of the biggest things when you have great service in a culture.
Yeah.
You know, you can feel when you walk into a business like, shit, I kind of want to clock in and work with you, you know?
And that's what we want people to feel at home, you know? Like, that's like the most important thing is like, come, I don't care if there's one little nugget that helps change your life or if you start seeing us every day. Like, we'll meet you where you're at, and we just want to help support our community. I believe in the ripple effect. I know you do too.
Yeah.
It's like,
I met you, met Dre. I met, you know what I mean? It's great when you like to open your space, the right people come in. For you, we'll finish up here now in a second. What's a quote you live by and why?
So we actually have this in neon at the center, and it's hope changes everything. And the reason why is I've lived by it for years. It's something that helps me make shift at any moment in my own reality, and helping others as well. And so it truly is. It's a conduit for miracles.
I love that. Thank you so much, Janelle, for coming down here,
Brian.
and your husband in the back
Thank
here
you.
watching. Yeah, I appreciate you. You invited me to your wellness facility. You sponsor one of my events. You guys are so welcoming and nice. And like I said, your son, meeting your husband today was cool. And continue to do the work you guys are doing. I hope more people start getting into your facility and actually utilize and understand it's helping them become their best selves, which we all want to do. I'll add her Instagram, the business's Instagram, Desert Moon Wellness, into the description of this podcast. Make sure you follow them, check them out. Don't be scared of the hyperbaric chamber. You're not going to turn into Michael Jackson. You're going to turn into your own Thriller. I don't know. That was not a good one. I tried. I'll leave you guys with a word. Back to what we talked about earlier. Don't settle for just the norm. You want to be at your optimal best. You do that by prioritizing your sleep, the people around you, the food you ingest, the things you read. You want to be your optimal best. We ain't average over here. Fuck that normal shit.
Yeah.
2 words. Be optimal.